Today, I have this wonderful job to introduce a person who I have known in two perspectives. One is I have an introduction in front of me, which is a professional one. And there's a personal introduction which I will give. Let me read about his achievements and accomplishments and what he is today. Anshuman Tiwari is our keynote speaker today. He is the head of delivery excellence with DXC Technology, a large multinational organization. He is a process transformation professional with experience across multiple industries, including banking, professional services, information technology, manufacturing, and consulting. He specializes in setting up and scaling world class operations excellence programs. Anshuman is driven by impact and loves to lead people to deliver amazing results, usually 10x or more. In the last few years, he has also managed large RPA, robotic process automation, and digital initiatives. He is a fellow of American Society for Quality, ESQ. As a hobby, he runs a podcast and a YouTube channel, very popular one, focused on managing better. He stays with his family in Bangalore since 2006 and is an aspiring minimalist and a checklist ninja. But that's the professional introduction. But let me add a few of my own introduction to Anshu. Since I've known him since 2006, he is actually a very humble person, a humility personified. Anshuman, the person that in front of us, he has vast knowledge. And let me tell you, he has vast knowledge in his subject and many more on leadership, especially. He reads books by the dozen. Whenever I would meet him, he'd carry bags of books with him always and very passionate about the areas he is knowledgeable in. You will see that you have humility, you have knowledge, and you have passion. What it gives you a great leader. And incidentally, he's a great friend of mine. Let's put a round of applause for our keynote speaker, Mr. Anshuman. Anshuman is going to speak on personal branding.
Thank you, Raj. It is Raj's habit to embarrass me and this time publicly. But thank you very much. And thank you, Toastmaster, for the opportunity. I hope my sound is clear and I can't do much about the video at this age. This is what you get. So I'm here more to share my lessons and experiences in personal branding. By no means I'm a brand. By no means I'm anybody who could be called an expert in this area. But I never shy away from sharing. My mantra always is that I know a little bit more than maybe some others, and it is my duty, responsibility to be able to share that. And in that spirit, I will share a few thoughts today, and hopefully it will resonate. So I'll take you back in time a little bit. The year is 1987. Yeah, I was in class 11th that time, and the occasion was the selection of the new school council. So head boy, vice deputy head boy, and there would be houses. In some schools, it was called Southern. If you studied in North India, I was a popular candidate from amongst the student community for the captainship of my house, which meant I was a direct choice for the deputy head boy. So there would be two, and there was an outside chance of being the head boy as well if I got enough votes. So definitely the deputy head boy was a done deal. Everything clear. As usual, overconfident. The whole thing ended in me not being even shortlisted for the captainship of the house. So forget the head boy, forget the deputy head boy. I was not even shortlisted for the group captain or what the house captain. So I've always been curious to know. Fine, what has happened has happened. And the teachers who were the group of teachers who were in charge of this house told me, you can't speak to save your life. And this role requires you to keep people together, keep people, encouraged, motivated. And this is school, by the way. This is class 11th. So I'm not talking about last year's my appraisal or anything. This is class 11th. This is exactly what was told to me. You can't speak to save your life. So that is my first memory of being reminded of the importance of being able to speak properly and articulately, and at least in a manner in which you can communicate your thoughts. And that to me was important for a while, but I could not do much about it. Right. So it was feedback, like more feedback. It was without an action. It was more admonishment, less of feedback. And I said, fine. I did what I could to run the house properly, support the captain, and forgot all about this, or rather, it went into back burner of your mind. And I'm sure many of you have had something similar in your life, something that was in your schooling or in that age, which has stayed with you. And this is 1987. Today we are 2021, and it has. I can remember the scene. I know the teachers who said this. I know the other candidates. Ever since I have worked with so many other people, so many people have worked for me. I have had colleagues, friends. I've forgotten many of those names, but I haven't forgotten that particular 5 minutes because it left an impact. It left an impact which years later I realized that they were actually right. We can debate whether the job required me to be able to speak articulately, whether the job required me to be speaking confidently, but given or agreed that the job required these qualities, I was definitely not fit. But this realization came much later, and that's when I started doing something about it. And that is where my interest in reading started, my interest in getting better started. First realization, of course, in getting better is that you should know where you are. So if you have to go somewhere, you should know where you are. In any situation, even if you are going to the local grocery store, if you don't know where you are, you will never get where you want to get. You will get somewhere. And sometimes accidentally it might be better than what you thought, but hope is not a plan. So, so with that story, I'll push you a little further and ask you, how do you you try and run this in your mind, and I will try and read your mind and share my thoughts. How do you shop? So when you go for something, you have some function in mind for anything that you're going to buy. Let's say a phone that you may be wanting to buy, or a pen, or anything else. So you have some function in mind first, that the object that you are going to buy should be able to perform these one, two, three, or more functions. Then form takes over. Okay, it should look nice also. And for some people, of course, form might precede function, but generally function precedes form in most buying decisions, including household items, or including even a house or a car that you may be buying. Function precedes form. It should do the job. And then comes a stage where you are looking for form. And you will usually find that there will be two, three contenders which are in the same form and function band. Just imagine, even if you're buying washing powder, right, which is a pretty standard item, and assuming the days that you could go to the shop and, or even now, if you're buying on Flipkart or Amazon, you will search for washing powder in a certain range. You might get three options, and then you pick, and that's the time when the brand plays the fifth, because everything else is equal, or it is within a range. Even if Ariel is 5 rupees more than Surf, that 5 rupees does not matter to you at that point, because you thankfully are earning in a zone where 5 rupees is, or 10 rupees is not a issue. So all those things are equal. That's when brand comes into play. Exactly the same happens to you. Now imagine you are the washing powder, and you are up for a interview, whether external to the company, internal to the company, wherever, it doesn't matter. And you get to the final round, three people. More or less everybody has done the same work. More or less everybody is from the same education background. A little bit more, a little bit less. Salary levels might be more or less same. So Surf is more expensive, AIL is more expensive. That can same scenario, right? What matters at that point, that decision point, is the brand you carry. What is your personal brand at that point in time? And that is something that you cannot build while going to the interview. You can rehearse all other questions. You can practice your speaking, which Toastmaster is brilliant at, maybe 1 week, 2 weeks before the session, which I will never advise, but you can improve. You can definitely improve on your articulation, your confidence, your speech, your pause, your pitch, your tone. All those things you can improve in maybe 2 to 4 weeks' time, but you cannot improve your personal brand in 2 to 4 weeks' time. What I have done in my career, and that's one of the reasons why Rajkumar and I, when he was speaking to me, I said, fine, I would love to share my experience, and always happy to share. So background now understand where we started, what is the need for a personal brand, and where does it come handy. It does not come handy, or it is not your primary, it is not a visiting card alone. Of course, it is your, your brand reaches the room before you reach. Right? Like in my case, my personalized introduction is my brand. He knows me like this. This is my brand. This is what has reached. And through him, it has reached the other people who are in this room. So that's what a personal brand is. Another aspect of this is that you might see people around you whom you always aspire that this guy turns up, this girl turns up, he's always immaculately dressed to the occasion, always is confident, speaks the right thing, always meets everybody in the room. Some people might even say this in a sarcastic or skeptical tone that they are faking it. But that's the person's brand. Right? The person has built that brand over a period of time. And like in sports or in any other profession, it takes practice, it takes consistent practice to build your brand. These are some of the thoughts that I thought I'll be able to share. And so I will share this if required, but nothing much in this. I just put together one or two slides, which I will briefly share and then I will talk about it. I try to put together my thoughts in this simple, so just internalize this and then I will take it off. So create, enhance, and reinforce in that order. And after you reinforce, you again create a higher level brand. This kind of a model is nothing new. Even in Toastmasters, you would find something similar. The words may be different, but it will be something similar. It may be 4 steps, it may be 5 steps, but it will be similar. Any sports also, Rajkumar mentioned I have been running, I've done some full marathons, but the skill there itself, there also is that you create your ability, you enhance your ability, and then you reinforce, and then there is a next level. And then you again follow the same cycle, and then there is a next level. So the point I wanted to make now, why should you create? And we discussed the why part of why should you create the brand is because that defines you. That is your identity. It arrives in the room before you do. People know you for that. Therefore, consistency is important and all that. Right now, particularly in an online world where we are all primarily living online lives these days. And even when things get better, I suspect the online life will be a large portion. This disruption that we've had in the last 18 months, or by the time we get to work, looks like it will be at least 2 years, would have altered the percentage importance of online in your life forever. Right? If it was 10% important before the pandemic, it will be 25, 33, 50% important when the pandemic. Sometimes a decade's change happens in 1 year. So this change otherwise would have taken maybe a decade to happen. If we went from 10% to 25% to 30%, may would have taken maybe 5 years, 7 years, 10 years to happen. But now it has happened within a year. Now everybody is not only okay, we are actually welcoming this. We have now found clever ways, the benefits of this. And so we have totally internalized. Right? So coming back to this, the create part. So you need to be able to figure out what you are. So I'll give you my example. Rajkumar mentioned manage better. So I do run a podcast and management education channel called, or rather an interaction channel called Manage Better. It's doing well on YouTube, well from my standards, and podcasts and other things. So do check it out when you can. But more importantly, why did I create it? So it is a extension of my brand. So I'm known for somebody in my circles as somebody who can articulate a concept, has some good connections, and can engage people in a conversation. If you bring all this together, what comes? You get an interview, right? If I can articulate my own thoughts, I have connections, and I can get you or engage people in a conversation. What is the outcome? It's an interview. So I do my podcast or the session in an interview format, and that has become my brand, enhanced brand over the last 18 months. So when this pandemic thing happened, it was an opportunity for me to pivot to something more. And that something more is this. So that's my brand. You will have to find your own brand same way, right? What are you standing for? And that will change every 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, right? Not directionally, but I would say value wise. So you will change your brand or your brand will enhance every 3, 4, 5 years typically. And if you don't see that change, then possibly you have not been on the right path. So you've stagnated a little bit. I, for example, keep a resume every year. I refresh it every year, and sometimes even twice a year. Not that I'm looking for a job, but it is an indicator that have I done anything useful in the last 6 months, which enhances my brand which enhances employability, right? Irrespective whether I'm looking for a job or not. So that's the create and enhance part, and I will come to the and reinforces because, like I said, everything, if you keep doing the same thing, even if you do the same exercise routine, for those who are interested in exercising and or physical fitness, your body tends to learn and doesn't then respond to the same exercise. So most of the fitness regimes mix it up. There is a CrossFit exercise, there will be something else. Even in cycling, you don't do the same cycling routine every day. You will mix it up. Why? Because you're training your muscles to respond to different stimulus. Same thing happens for enhance. So I think the important part therefore is that you not only create, you enhance, and then you continue to reinforce. This is similar to the sharpen the saw. If you read Stephen Covey's Seventh Habit, this is nothing but you reinforce. So you keep doing the loop. Right. Now coming to a little bit more. So this is something I explained, and I can take questions once I'm done with this slide. So look at this again, the why, about, and how of the branding part. And this is the model I use for almost explaining anything. I'm today explaining personal branding, but if you ask me to explain blockchain, I will pretty much use the same model. So this is also part of my brand, extended brand, that I try and look at everything in the same lens. Of course, you need to be flexible, but this is what it is. So if you got this far, I will take the screen off and I can actually share it later. But what is important here is, if you did notice that the first question is why. Why do you want to have a personal brand? If your answer is not strong enough, not consistent enough, you will not put the effort that is required. So why did you join Toastmasters, for example? You just didn't wake up one day and say, okay, today is the day I will join. Today is the Toastmaster day. Panditji has told me, my Kundli says today is the brightest day for joining Toastmasters. You don't do that, right? It is over a period of time in your mind that, okay, I need to do something about this. And one of the ways seems to be Toastmaster. You would have spoken to other people. Some feedback would be there. Some organic process will be there. And then that day arrives, then you say that, okay, seems like this is what I want. So there is a strong why. Same way for your personal branding exercise. What is that strong why? Do you want to become a popular YouTuber? Then the game starts at 100,000 subscriptions. Right. So what are the things you should be doing if you want to become a popular YouTuber? You should be in entertainment, gaming, financial markets, those kind of advice. If you are giving advice on maybe slightly serious matter, then you should be really, really good in that, world class. Right. That's when you will get to that. So your why should be clear, and then only you can decide the what. The mission is that there is something more internal, right? So fine, the vision was to get to something, visible, tangible outcome. But the mission is that deeper, even deeper, the peeling the onion. So why do I want to do this? So in my case, like I explained, I always had this desire of, speaking to people, learning from people, assimilating that knowledge, conceptualizing and summarizing it and sharing it with others. I don't know where it developed, but over the years, this was there for a long, long time. And now it has found a medium. Now it has path. Something similar will happen to you. So you will have to find your mission and vision around it. Mission is deeper than the vision. Vision is more tangible, that others can see. There is a goal that you can see. Mission is unlikely to change. Vision is likely to change every 3 to 5 years. So that's the why part. And then comes the what part. The what part is having a plan, right? So what kind of a plan do you need? Do you want LinkedIn for your personal brand? Do you want Facebook for your personal brand? Do you want Instagram for your personal brand? Depending on the kind of audience, depending on what you do, you will need a certain vehicle for your personal brand. So that, again, the question goes back to why. So the why will dictate the what. If you probably may not be able to start your personal brand together. And personal brand may not be only online, it needs to be offline as well. So if you are for example, some of you might be aspiring master of ceremonies or MCs. So if you want to get into that space, doing only online is not going to help. There will be some offline requirement as well. So the why will dictate the what, and you will have a plan. My recommendation always is that have 100-day plans and then keep revising. So in a year, you will get 3 cycles. 100-day plan is a very, very good plan. You get a break of approximately 15-20 days, and you can have 3 cycles in the year. You will see tangible improvement. Don't have everything in this month. So July, 17th of July, Anshuman spoke to us. 18th of July onward, there is a LinkedIn post, and then 3 days later, you have run out of steam. Exactly similar to your running. So you heard that Rajkumar has run half marathons, Anshuman has run marathons. Tomorrow onward, we will be on the road. Pandemic or no pandemic, we will be on the road. I can guarantee that day after tomorrow, you'll be in the hospital. So that's the final destination. Same thing happens to your branding efforts also. You don't do it consistently, you don't do it with a plan, you are likely to fail or right. Giving up is the equivalent of getting injured in running. So giving up on your plans is the equivalent, right? So you injury gave you up or you gave up because of something else. Net result is that you are not continuing with your dream. So my suggestion is go slow, have a plan. And if LinkedIn, I specialize more in LinkedIn and I give a lot of talks around LinkedIn. But there are several other, depending on your why, there are several other mediums. You could write, you could blog, you could do other things. If you are a singer or something, SoundCloud could be an exciting medium, depending on what you want to do. And the second aspect of the what is that don't think you know everything because, obviously you don't. So learn from others. Try and learn from your influencers or the influencers you follow, and you will get a fairly good idea. The last part I normally don't speak about, which is how. The how is very personalized. You will discover your how. Nobody else should be teaching you the how. Unless it is a very, very specific subject like a financial analysis, then there is some how about. But you will discover your how. For these things, for self growth matters, you will discover your how. That how will stick. The why and what you can have a coach. But if you need a coach for the how, then there is some misstep somewhere. So like I said, there are some topics, of course, which need a coach for how, like the financial part or other some similar part. And of course, if your intention is to improve your speech or delivery or something, then you need a Toastmaster kind of session. That is, I would put it in how, though you can put it in what as well, but I would put it in how because you are trying to improve and the confidence and the articulation part can come in the what. So these were some of my thoughts. And just to summarize, I would like to remind that, you are your brand. Nobody else is investing in you. You are investing in your brand. You are your systematic investment plan. And if you are not interested in your brand, nobody else is. If you see that person with 100,000 followers, 500,000 followers, and only are cynical and skeptical about him or her, that person has no idea that you even exist. Right? So there's no point in thinking on those lines. This is an extremely conscious journey that you take. And as I said, you create a brand, enhance it, and then you reinforce it, and that cycle continues. And the why, what, and how cycle is extremely important. Answer your why. Why do you want to do that? That will dictate the what, and you will discover the how. So that's my message. With that, I would like to, if there's time, I would like to take some questions.
Thank you, Anshuman of Mouse, for that wonderful sharing of personal brand. You are your brand. That's the closing statement of Anshuman. So, to Anshuman's point, you are your brand and you carry everything will be yourself. Thank you so much, Anshuman, for sharing that wonderful, wonderful point. We have people on the call who have been asking for a question. The first one, hand raised, is past President Karthik.
Yes, thank you so much for this wonderful session again. My question is, does personal branding is important for everyone? And the second question to that also, that just imagine a regular, I'm not attracting a person from outside. So branding is something, where you want to attract people. I'm a regular employee working in a company where I need to have a branding. These two are my questions.
Karthik, whether you like it or not, whether you want it or not, your brand exists. So you already have a personal brand. You're just not aware, right? And I'm addressing the question to you because you asked, but this is obviously for everybody. We may not know, but our brand already exists. People already know us in a certain way. Every action that we perform or don't perform results in the reinforcement of that brand. By denying yourself a brand, you're only, maybe pushing the inevitable a little further in your life. That's all. You may not want to be known as that, but you already are. So your brand is not what you want. Your brand is how what others see you. So it is already there. So my response to your first question is that it's not something that you can decide whether it is required, essential or not. It is there already. What you can decide is to whether you want to promote yourself as that brand or not. That promotion is definitely conscious. Like I have been talking about some of my examples, right? So that is a conscious effort to mix the lessons that I shared with some promotion of what I do so that it's a believable articulation, which is my style. That is my brand. People know me as that. People call me for that. People speak to me for that. You will already have something, right? So My response is that you already have a brand. Your decision is only to whether promote consciously or to wait a few years and think that the bus has already gone and then look for the next bus. Today, in this age, the competition is so stiff. When you go for an interview, when you are that surf and aerial, and pretty much all can wash the clothes. What is differentiating you is that brand. It's totally up to you. So that is first. Second, I think you are for your internal branding. Internal brands are even more important than external brand because you are with those people day in, day out, right? So not all of us are into public speaking. Not all of us are into reaching out and looking for a conference slot. Some of us are quite internal and want to do a good job at work and, just confine ourselves to that company. Fine, fantastic. That's you. So your internal brand is even more important then because people want to work with you. People want to engage with you. People want to learn with you. Whatever be your job, you are not getting anywhere without collaboration with team members and others, right? So your brand is even more important internally. Even if it is not about hiring, just about getting work done. You will know of people, Karthik, since you asked this, that who can call up anybody and say, can you please, I know it is a Friday, can you do this for me? I have a meeting on Monday, please. There will be people who will say, no, sir, I'm busy. But there will be other people who will say, of course, for you, I will do it. Right? They may not use the same words, but they will do it. That's your personal brand because you have invested in that brand over the months and years. That person will do it for you. They trust you, they believe you. It's not out of fear or anything else, but they trust you, believe you. That's your brand. So internal brand is even more important, not only for hiring, but just to get work done.
We'll go to Sayani first, next, and then Amar after that.
Yeah, hi, that was a brilliant session. I have since for the last 2 years, I'm trying to sort of break down my stereotype brand image that I have. Mostly, like even if my LinkedIn profile, all of the recommendations that I got, that Sayani is someone who you can trust, dedicated, who says yes to everything. So there is the repetitive, in my appraisal meetings or whenever working with my manager, this is the same sort of feedback that I used to get, and even I'm getting that Sayani, you say yes to everything. So I'm trying really hard to change that. But that brand image that I got, it's so difficult to break that down. Because since you are a checklist ninja, Rafir has mentioned, so any checklist that I can follow with that. Well, let's see, I'm not someone who says yes to it.
Okay, so slightly tough question because I don't know you that well, so I can't talk from my personal assessment or awareness of you. But from what you described, assuming we take that as face value, and I'm saying not because I don't trust you, but because you are saying what people are saying about you, right? This is your view, this is your perception, which itself is an assumption, right? So there is a starting point itself is an assumption. So, giving a concrete answer for an assumption based on other assumptions is extremely risky. But my general view from what you describe is that the only point which you seem to be worried about is that saying yes to everything. The other seem to be okay. You seem to enjoy the other recommendations. Right?
Oh no, so that is sort of hindering my own personal growth because you cannot be a manager when you say yes to all departments and you are taking on.
So I did narrow down, so I could needle you on that a little bit. That the only thing you are not happy about is the saying yes part. So that's your checklist. So you asked about a checklist. If you are conscious that you don't want to be known as somebody who says yes to everything, right? And for good or bad, over the last few years, your reputation is built around saying yes to everything, including other facets, of course. It's a pivot. It's a change. A change will not happen. Same analogy to running. You want to run a full marathon. It will take 6 months of regular, consistent daily practice. The regular, consistent daily practice is not to do what you are known for or what you don't want to be known for. In this case, saying yes to everything. So your checklist is just that have a don't do list, right? Your not to do list could include that don't say yes to things that stretch you. Don't say yes to things that are, beyond your capacity in that sense. And the risk, I know that. I mean, obviously, when you have built a reputation around doing things, the good thing, Sayani, is that, quite likely that you are doing a good job at all those things. So that's why people come to you. And then you get an opportunity or which you miss and say end up saying yes. So in a way, there is a good hidden message also in this that you get opportunities which others don't get. And too bad that you are unable to say no. But if it is bothering you, then you needed to not to do list. But frankly, if I was under 40, right, and I had this reputation, I would give my right hand for this. So this kind of a reputation in your formative years, and I am not a supporter of this work-life balance and all this, Gyan. You are out to build a career. You will regret all this work-life balance. So don't be too worried about this reputation. It's a good reputation to have if you are on the right side of it.
So not to do list, another takeaway from Anshuman. We have one more question in the interest of time, which was Amar. I think Amar, you had a question.
Yeah, so quickly, when we are building our brand, a great session. Thank you so much for that. A lot of things opened up. When we are building our brand, it is, now the, digital marketing and everything is out there. Everyone knows everything. But when we are doing our personal branding, the rejections are more than acceptance. Not everyone will attest you stating that, okay, this is the person whom you can like, share, comment, subscribe, or hear you out, because nowadays everyone is sharing about everything. So to build that acceptance, because once you place a comment or you share something and it's out in the market to be, everyone will stretch that and break it and whatnot. So how you manage to do that?
This is a complex topic, right? Because it's more psychological than physiological. So getting rejected is not a human, isn't not an emotion that human beings enjoy, right? So getting rejected by another human, getting rejected by another animal. So first of all, this is a human emotion. If you feel bad about getting some rejections, so be it. That's okay. It only proves that you're human. So that's fine. In general, don't feel too bad. Move on. If you're getting more rejections than acceptances, and I'm assuming that you are talking about, requests or connection requests or something, then you have to evaluate why, right? Maybe your profile is not appealing enough, right? Maybe your brand is not in consonance with what you are saying. So you are projecting a brand that is not you. So the product is not appealing, right? If search was to say or project that, or Ariel was to project that it will brighten your teeth, will you buy it? Right? There was some years ago, Dettol went into kitchen cleaning, utensil cleaning products. It didn't work because the product was fantastic, but it didn't work because the brand, what it was saying, it was not in consonance with. So that's what maybe I can remind that if you are feeling that the online world, you are quote unquote rejected or not as accepted as you wanted, don't be too disheartened. Everybody starts that way. I also started that way. Today, I also end up rejecting quite a few requests because I don't see any reason to connect with the person, right? Some people just send requests because they like your profile. That's not a reason for me to connect. That is a reason for him or her to. And I'm not here to oblige everybody else in their lives. I have a responsibility toward my own brand, right? So I need to be known for people, the company I keep. So that's also important. So they may be doing that, and there's nothing harm, no harm in that. Build on your brand, build on your profile, make it a compelling combination. And one small tip, which you can, and then I can end this, is that when you in the early stages, when you feel that your brand is probably not where it should be, or you are on your way, then when you write a request to people to connect, put a reason why you want to connect. So suppose I'm using this example, a little bit crudely, that in this room, I don't know many of you, right? Maybe I'll remember 3 or 4 names, particularly the people who asked questions or the speakers. But if you were to send me a LinkedIn request, blank, right? I would have no memory of who you are, why you are connecting. But if you were to include a one line that I attended your session in Toastmasters Leader Speak, and I would like to connect with you, I would take half a second to press accept. The same is true for everybody else also who.
And I think just give a huge round of applause to Anshuman. Anshuman, over to you for your closing comments. I'm Tony Toastmaster. Don't end the Q&A. I would like to have you just summarizing for the benefit of the audience.
Sure. The 1 minute kind of elevator speech would be that you are your own brand. If you are not investing in your brand, nobody else is. Right? Your reputation reaches the room before you do. Your brand reaches the room before you do. The why of every situation in everything, particularly in personal branding, is extremely important. Why will dictate your what, and then the how will emerge. So please don't worry about the how, worry about the why. Why do you want to build a personal brand? What are you going after? and then have a plan and stick to the plan for at least 6 months. Don't stick to the plan for 3 days and say that, oh, this LinkedIn doesn't work, Facebook doesn't work, or Instagram doesn't work. It is working for millions of other people. If it is working for them and not working for you, the answer is obvious.